Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for attending the Gamers 2022 Professional Bootcamp. We're so excited to have you here for the final panel of the event and provide some insight into the many different career paths available in gaming and some advice on how to reach those goals in today's session. Careers you didn't know existed in esports and gaming. My name is Arica Kress. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for Esports Engine, operator of the world's top esports leagues, and strategic partner for game publishers. I'll be your moderator for this session. The world of gaming and esports continues to feel tremendous growth, and women are playing a key role in driving the development across the industry. Now more than ever, the landscape is full of opportunities for passionate gamers to enter the industry and shape the future of this industry in a myriad of ways. Today, I'm joined by 5 wonderful panelists from Belong Gaming Arenas, a subsidiary of Vindex, an esports engine sister company, to chat about these careers, opportunities, and give an insider's look into what working in gaming looks like and how you can get involved. Today, we have here with us Katie Burke, Michele Ware, Melanie Montolio, Hayley Knight, and Shanta Washington. Welcome. Could each of you please introduce yourself, noting your title, describing your role at Belong? Hayley, do you want to go first and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Hayley Knight. I am the first female arena manager here in the US. I run the players location here in Ohio. We have 72 stations, each one with a PC as well as a PlayStation 5 and then an Xbox Series X as well. It's killer to have this arena. It's currently the largest. So, also being the female arena manager and the largest arena, kind of a win-win.
It looks great. I've actually been there and it's beautiful. It's so amazing. So great. Thank you for joining us. Katie, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Katie Burke. I am the project manager for the software engineering team at Belong. So we build out the systems that are used in the Belong arenas. So whether it's what the staff are using on the iPads to book people's time or the gamers launching the games themselves.
While we are waiting to get the audio on for Melanie and Michele and Shanta, we will kind of start talking a little bit about some opportunities that are available in gaming, and then we can get everybody looped in here when we can make sure we hear everybody, because we want to make sure we hear from everyone, because everyone has some really different careers. I'll talk a little bit about that while we're waiting for the other 3 to join. So Michele Ware is our financial controller at Belong Arenas. Melanie Montolio is the marketing lead at Belong. And Shanta Washington is the HR business partner at Belong. So we have software, we have financial, we have marketing, we have an arena manager at the largest arena in the United States, and HR. So it shows that, everyone might think of certain roles that exist in gaming, but there's a lot of different roles that maybe people don't think about. So it's really exciting to have everyone on the panel today. Hayley, for you, what got you interested in gaming and why did you decide to pursue a career in gaming?
What got me interested in gaming was my parents getting me a PlayStation 1, and I played Spyro's Ripto Rage non-stop. It was like a problem. And then they started feeding into it, like getting me a DS, PlayStation 2, Xboxes, and then just seeing the background of how games are being developed and then getting into esports. That's truly what drove me into my passion for gaming and then wanting to join Belong.
That's great. What esports did you get into?
I was really big into League and Overwatch.
Nice.
So those are the ones I watch a lot, and then currently Valorant.
Katie, for you, what got you initially interested in gaming and why did you decide to pursue a career in gaming?
So I am a little bit different of a gamer, I'd say. I got started because my brother had a few different gaming consoles in our home, but what really hooked me was he had gotten the original Animal Crossing in like 2002 and he never played it, but I was addicted to it. I would come home from school and just play Animal Crossing all day long. And then during the pandemic, I really was playing Animal Crossing on my Switch, and I was just seeing how, even in these times of people not being able to get together, uh, I was able to hang out with my friends on Animal Crossing, and I could see the gaming industry really taking off. So I was interested to move into the gaming industry because of that.
Awesome. That's great. Well, speaking of that, getting into the industry, while we're, working on some of getting the other three to join here, how did you both find your jobs in gaming? Because that's something I'm sure a lot of people watching, might be interested in of, how do you find these types of jobs? Katie, do you want to go first on that one?
Sure. Yeah, I found this on LinkedIn. I also was interested in kind of joining a little bit of a startup. So I was looking for something that was in an industry that excited me. And when I saw the Belong Gaming opportunity for software project manager, I was like, this is it. This is exactly what I've been looking for. So yeah, just
What
LinkedIn.
type of like background or education or training did you need to have to join, have an experienced job like software? That's so interesting to me.
Oh yeah, thanks. So I in college I studied computer science. And so I was working in tech for around 4 years after school. And during the pandemic, I started taking online courses for project management specifically. I knew I wanted to stay in the tech sphere, but not necessarily do hard coding and like be in the code. I wanted to use a little bit of my interpersonal skills to translate what the engineers were doing to business stakeholders. So I took some courses and then I was able to get a certification, which kind of led me to get this job.
Great. That's awesome. That's really interesting because obviously it's a very specific type of role. So you want to make sure you have, all the right credentials and training and
Definitely.
everything for it. That's great. Hayley, for you, how did you, we have, there belong arenas all over the country. There are a lot more opening up. We'll talk about a little bit of that here in a second. But, for you, how did you find your job as an arena manager? And if other people are looking in their cities and it happens to be, an arena, or if just in general, other jobs in esports and gaming, where did you find out about your opportunity?
I was on LinkedIn looking up gaming jobs and I came across Belong and I looked into it and I fell in love with it. I was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I come from 7 years of retail, so I know the retail side all over. But now being part of the esports is pretty cool. But yeah, I found it on LinkedIn.
That's great. So it sounds like that's the
Yeah,
place
LinkedIn.
to check it out, right?
LinkedIn's where you need to go.
I know the gamers have a great app and you can search for jobs there and connect with other people on their app too. So I know I have the app and it's pretty handy for that as well. Along with LinkedIn's always the go-to, right? So that's great. Well, that's awesome. So as far as the next 10 years, if we're looking at where esports is growing and how gaming is growing, what are you looking forward to most over the next 10 years of where the industry is going? Hayley, for you, what do you think about that?
What I think is that now schools are offering it in their curriculum and that it's now considered sports. So it's now growing with esports where you can get scholarships. Kids are doing their passion not only at home, but now with school. It's truly amazing at how it's expanding where pretty much any game you can think of is going to have an esports for it, any competitive game.
Right. That's awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, because you're at the location in Columbus, Ohio, right? So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of high school programs, right, that are popping up too. So people can start playing really, really young. Obviously, they're all playing on their own young, but they can actually play competitively, as early as high school or even earlier, which is really exciting. So, Katie, for you being in software, like, what do you think, the future of the industry holds?
I mean, that is an incredible question. I think just within the past 5 years, I think we've seen such incredible advances in the actual software that's running these games. I mean, I think nowadays, I think 5 years ago, it was probably an anomaly if somebody had really had experience in doing like virtual gaming or like virtual headset gaming. And now it's like everybody's already done that. We're kind of like, what's next? So I think that what's really exciting to me is just knowing that there's so many people out there in the game development side of things that are probably already working on something that's going to come out, and we're all going to be mind blown. I think there's just so many different, I guess, like opportunities there. Because I think back to like when the Wii came out, and that was like mind blowing to me then. And now it's like I have my Switch where I could take it off and just play basically like the Wii, but just right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I think that's just the most exciting for me.
Right. It's going to be interesting. One thing that it's kind of like that too, where you feel like it could be the next big thing, but it's hard to tell is how virtual reality, is going to move forward. Is it going to become, the standard, or is it going to still be, something that is kind of, different and used for certain things? So
I think there will be like additional things as well. Like there'll be the virtual reality and it'll keep getting better, but I think there's going to be like something else that none of us are even thinking about right now that'll be more engaging.
Right. And everything, and I'm not an expert in any way in metaverse or anything like that, but it's so funny because I feel like gaming has been so far ahead of the curve when you think about metaverse and those types of things. I mean, that's been pretty much very common in gaming in the industry, and, for other industries, it's very new and everything. So it's really interesting to see how gaming and esports, I feel like, is usually ahead of the curve, and it's going to be exciting to see where the future goes and everything. So that's awesome. As far as hopefully we have a lot of people watching right now and a lot of people that are interested. This has been a great 3-day event that the gamers have put on, this boot camp that, for everyone to figure out how, if they want to join the industry, how they get in. And that's always been the hardest thing. I always tell people when they're looking to join a specific industry, it's getting your foot in the door the first time. And then after that, it starts to snowball. And so I'm really glad that they were able to host this event all weekend to really give people advice and ideas of how to get into the industry. What are some ideas or advice that you would give someone if they're really passionate about gaming and they want to get into the industry, how they would get their first foot in the door to kind of, start that snowball effect and start networking and meeting people and everything like that? Hayley, do you want to take that one first?
Yeah. So I would say is your hard work and the passion that you've shown has not gone unnoticed. So please continue what you're doing. Reach out to any social media platform. That is always your best friend with gaming.
That's great. Katie, what about you? What advice would you give someone trying to get into the industry new?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you know that you want to get into a specific industry, especially gaming, it's because you're passionate about it. And I think that, like Hayley said, reaching out to people via different social networks is probably your best bet. And I think you should really lean into, the industry. If you're familiar with gaming, if you are a gamer and you want to get into the industry, I think play that up, because there's definitely always going to be, just as women and, in kind of male dominant industries like this, there's going to be a sense of imposter syndrome, if you will. But I think that the best way to overcome that is just knowing like this is what you're passionate about. And I think people really kind of connect with that when you go into like trying to make a connection with somebody and say outright, I have dedicated my life to this, or I would love to dedicate my life to this thing that sets my soul on fire, essentially. I think that just really being outright with, this is your passion, because truthfully, there are a lot of people that will try to get into the industry that don't have that same passion, that don't have the same, stake in the matter, as far as that maybe they're not a gamer. They just know that this is a growing industry. So I think if you really like double down on the fact that you are a gamer, you are part of the community, really, I think that holds a lot of value.
I completely agree. And it really sets yourself apart, right? So I know for us, there's plenty of times we're looking for people that, you might even need someone that has a specific experience in a specific game title or, with a specific program. And so that really sets yourself apart when you're looking to hire people. And I think that's absolutely great advice. I had a mentor once tell me that, if you're lucky enough to have your passion in your profession meet, that's obviously the goal, right? And that's the best case scenario. And I think that's why I'm sure a lot of us are here smiling, because we get to do things that we're very passionate about every day, but it's also our profession, and that's really important. I'd also say that in general, there's a lot of opportunities to maybe get your foot in the door with maybe internships or volunteer opportunities. I know for myself, I came from traditional sports and then moved into esports, and there's a lot of events, and they need a lot of additional people to run events, right? In esports and in traditional sports. And for me, that's how I got my experience, was volunteering or interning at these events. And I know from experience right now, we're operating events right now, and all over the globe. I think we have 2 or 3 events going on today alone at Esports Engine, and we need a lot of people to put on those events on top of our full-time staff. And that's a great way to start working events and then meeting people. And in that way, the next time they need someone, it continues to snowball again into that. And, that's where you end up getting your first, full-time job, hopefully. Well, that was great advice, Hayley and Katie, for both of you. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure many people listening really appreciated that as well. Hayley, for you, I'm going to ask you this question first, because you're literally sitting in the arena right now. So what do you love about working for Belong Gaming Arenas?
I love that I truly get to see all sides of the company, from HR to finance to also being here watching our tournaments.
Right.
And then interacting with our legends, new customers. We're actually having 2 birthday parties today that I get to be part of.
Oh, cool.
So all the interactions that I get from it, and like when kids come in and they're not sure what games to do or how to play them, and being able to work with them side by side, explaining and telling them, hey, there's a shortcut, go this way. It's pretty fun. So just the interactions I get day to day is exciting.
So a little bit of coach on the side too,
Yeah,
right?
a little bit.
So can you remind me, what cities right now do we have Belong Gaming Arenas in the United States?
So we have one in Pearland, Grapevine, Schaumburg, Franklin, and Polaris.
Okay, great. So that's Houston,
Dallas,
Nashville, Columbus. I missed one, I think.
Houston, Nashville, Dallas, Chicago, Columbus.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
5.
That's exciting. So I know that there are many more planned that, we probably don't have the ability to say right now, but, stay tuned, follow Belong Gaming Arenas, and there will be more announcements, I'm sure, in the future. And hopefully you'll have one in your city here very soon. Katie, for you, what do you enjoy about working at Belong Gaming Arenas?
Honestly, the people. I think similarly to what I was saying earlier, I feel like a lot of us, since it is a smaller company right now, we came in with the passion for gaming and to kind of build out this community. And so while I don't get personally the experience in the arena to see everybody loving it and experiencing the gaming community there, I think that our company is really kind of like that, but virtually, since we're all a little remote. Yeah.
That's great. I think too, it just really is something that I know I'm proud of, to work at a sister company of Belong. And I see it at our company, and I see it obviously with the Belong team as well, is to see so many female leaders within the team and so many female working throughout the team. At Esports Engine this weekend, we have many events going on all over the world. And, I was looking at, different people working those events, and I'm like, wow, like there's so many females that are leading the teams and leading certain departments that are integral in these events. And it's definitely something I'm proud of, to work someplace where that's valued and is so important to what we do. And so it's great to your point, to work someplace where it's really encouraged and valued, which is important for sure. What skills do you find that have been really important to joining the gaming industry? Katie, you talked a little bit about your training and everything, and about, the passionate for gaming, but what other skills do you think would be important for people to bring to the industry to help it grow?
I think general knowledge of the gaming industry, genuinely. Something that we do on the software engineering side is we're building out our game station platform. And so something that we need to be really familiar with is how all of the different gamers, or how all the different games are launched, and the ins and outs there, and what a gamers' experience should look like. So I think that generally just knowing how games operate, what gamers want to experience, I think that that is something that's really invaluable when it comes to being in this industry, just having that understanding of what a good user experience would be.
That's
From my side at least.
Right. Now, are the arenas connected in any way? Like, how does that work?
From our side?
Yeah, like from Belong, like, how do they work together, or are they completely separate, or how does that all work?
I think right now they're pretty separate, but I believe, I mean, Hayley, you probably could speak a bit more to this, but I believe there's like some goals to have like arena clashes and things like
Awesome.
that. Yeah.
That's cool.
So the skills that we bring through all the managers is our communication. It also goes hand in hand with games. If you're playing with people, you have to have that communication. But all of us arena managers, we always chat with each other. We have a
Awesome.
Slack channel where if there's an issue going on at our arena, we want to make sure it's not someone else's.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
we're always communicating.
So it's like a big community, even though
Yeah.
you're in different cities all over the country.
Mhm.
So that's great. And you can take best practices that way too, right?
Yes.
So sometimes it's troubleshooting, but hopefully a lot of times it's, like you said, if you're doing something in one location, you can replicate it someplace else. So that's really exciting. Hayley, for you, are there any skills that you think for people that are new that want to get in the industry that would be really important?
Exactly what Katie said. I mean, it's hand in hand with that, but honestly, communication it is the biggest thing, especially with us as arena managers. We're constantly talking, and then problem solving. Again, hand in hand with gaming, you have to bring that with you.
Right.
If there is a birthday party going on, a tournament or event, a tournament stream goes down, or someone's computer crash, we have to do that quick problem solving.
That's great. So multitasking, communication, problem solving, all big ones, right?
Yes.
And you have a big CDL event coming up too, right, at that location?
Yes, next week. We're very excited for it.
That's super exciting. It's a pro-am, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, great. What do you find most fulfilling? Because we talked a lot about your passion for gaming and why you wanted to get in the industry. So now you're in the industry. So for you, what has been like the most fulfilling thing that you've been a part of? Hayley, you want to take that one first?
Yeah, the most fulfilling thing is seeing other people's passion, especially when they come into the arena and that their love for it. It just kind of like ignites you. You're like, yeah, this is amazing. This is so fun. And building that community, honestly, we have a Discord with all of our legends and customers that come in, and they'll communicate with someone they never met before. They're like, hey, does anyone want to play Apex tonight? And you get like 4 responses and everyone jumps into it. So just seeing everyone's passion and love for this place, for Belong Gaming, and then also witnessing people play new games with something that they've never done before.
That's awesome. Now, so is there an opportunity for people that maybe have only gamed with each other online to actually meet in person at these arenas and play together? Does that happen very often? Do you have that kind of come up very often?
Yeah, we have a group of legends that usually just play online. They book 5 to 6 stations, and they'll stay from open to close.
Really? That's awesome. That's a really unique thing, because I think that especially over the last couple of years with the pandemic, which has been great, because people were able to connect with each other when we weren't physically able to connect with each other. But now that it's safe again and we can, be back in person, it's got to be really fulfilling for a lot of people to meet at the arenas and, game together again. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Katie, for you, what do you find fulfilling about your role now that you're working in gaming?
I think similarly to Hayley, when I first joined, we didn't have any arenas open. And so it was a lot of work before our first arena even opened to just kind of like hope that things would work out. We weren't getting direct feedback from people. And I think what's been really fulfilling is finally opening the arenas and getting a chance to hear from people like Hayley on the ground, like what's going on, what are the issues, how do we resolve them? And then knowing that we have so many exciting plans coming up for the arenas and seeing like how they're going to grow, how we're going to, I guess, utilize the space even more as, you know, people start having tournaments and maybe like I mentioned before, like the different arenas connecting somehow. I think that that's just what's most exciting for me.
That's
And
great.
rewarding for sure.
That's awesome. I know for myself, you know, being in esports and gaming has been really, really rewarding to see what we can do to help grow the community for the fans and the gamers of each game, because each one is so very different, right? So, you know, Hayley, like you mentioned, you might have one group coming in to play one game, you could have another group coming in to play another game, and you're literally working with people that are parts of, you know, huge communities all over the globe. You know, just it's so massive, it's so different than anything I've experienced before. And to be able to be a small part of that, or a big part of that, however you want to look at it, and to be able to help foster and grow these communities has been really fulfilling for me, joining the industry. So it's really exciting, and it's great to see what Belong has been able to do with the land centers and being in person and the arenas, and really being able to grow that throughout the country. I think it's really another level that we haven't seen before. So it's really super exciting. And thank you both for everything that you've done to build that, like you said, Katie, from the ground up before there were any arenas at all. And now there's already a bunch more planned, which is super exciting. What about your role, Katie? Because, you know, obviously there's software engineers in a lot of different fields, but what about your role is specific to gaming?
I think just interacting with the different game launcher APIs is really specific to gaming.
Right.
I think, and the way that we build out the different platforms, it has to be very conscious of how those games launch. So I think specifically, while we're not doing the game development itself, we have to interact with those game launchers, game, I guess, play, how users play the game. So that's what's typically really specific to gaming. And it helps because a lot of our software engineers are also familiar with the common games that people are using. So.
Right. Now, do you work directly with the developers or within your own team, or how does that work? I don't have any idea.
So I work directly with the software engineers. So yeah, we build out in the arena. They have an iPad app. We have customer facing apps and a website where people can go on and book time at the arenas. And then we also have the game station platform, which is run through the computers in the arena for users to come log in and then launch games through.
Wow, that's awesome. I have the app. So
Nice.
I highly recommend it. Everyone should go download the app and check out the website. And then when you're booking your time, you can think of Katie and you can be like, oh, I know who created this. This is so cool, you know? So
let me know if you have any issues too.
Yes. You can also let her know that too, if she can improve it, make it better. I'm sure she's always doing that. That's really cool. And then when you book it, then hopefully if you're at the location where Hayley is, you can go see Hayley in person, right? But if not, I'm sure there's many other wonderful arena managers all over the country. But that's so cool, Katie. Well, now when I use it, I'll think of you, because I've had it on my phone for a while. So Hayley, what obviously your role is very specific to gaming, but you said before that you'd worked in retail before, which I'm sure is, you know, there's definitely similarities for what you're doing now. Obviously, you're welcoming in a lot of guests and clients and gamers into the arena there in Columbus, Ohio. But what kind of maybe did you take from your other experience that you're now using in gaming? And then what is specific to gaming that really has helped you in your career?
What I took from my retail was, honestly, I had to be organized, hardcore. But bringing that to the arena, because there's so many tiny things here, especially with all of our stations, we have to know exactly which one's what parties are going on, having binders full of that, events, always having those organized so my whole team knows what's going on. But retail still goes hand in hand. I mean, we're also a retailer. We do sell merchandise. So I still have a little bit of that background here. But it's just, honestly, organization, communication, they all come back together.
That's awesome. And I'm sure a lot of it's, you know, guest services, right?
Yes.
And customer experience. And, you know, do how do you plan to take what you did from one event to either, again, share that with the other group or improve on that? Like, how do you kind of evaluate after you have events?
So I communicate with, or like I sit down, talk with my team who were working those events to see if there's any issues, things we can improve on, what went well. So I have all that. I have my information, and then I also give it to the arena managers just in case if someone else had the same issues or we did something different and it worked really, really well here. And so they can try it at the other arenas.
That's great. That's awesome. What do you use most for communication? Is it like Discord and Slack, or how does that work within your group?
So at the arena managers, we use Slack a lot. And then with my team, we use Discord. That's how we communicate with everyone. And then we also use it for our legends and our customers that come in.
Nice. So is there like a Belong Discord that anyone can join, or how does that work?
Yeah, so each arena has their own personal Discord. And then we also have a giant Belong Discord.
Okay.
But if you are local to Columbus and you want to see who else is playing that game or what communities are here, the Pilots Discord is the best. Or if you are in Chicago,
you want other best, or are you just saying that it's the best that in gaming? I'm just joking.
But each arena has their own Discord, so anyone can stay up to date with it, and you can join all 5 if you wanted to.
Yeah,
to see if there's something different that you wanted to do.
That's great. And I'm sure Katie has that linked on the website or in the app and all that great stuff. So
yes,
we do.
Check out all the Belong Discords and join them all so you can continue to build that community, which is awesome. So that's great. What do you find, Hayley, so far, like if you had to say what's the most fulfilling about being in the gaming industry now that this is something that you're leading, this arena, it's new, it's something that's growing. What for you has been the most fulfilling part of that so far?
Honestly, seeing all the women in gaming,
I love that.
It's crazy. I mean, growing up, it was all men, and especially with Belong, with so many women in high positions and just killing it, it's truly amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, this is my dream. I'm here. I'm living it.
That's awesome. Katie, for you, what do you find the most fulfilling, especially if you're building something from the ground up and you're launching it? For you, what's been the most fulfilling so far?
I think just seeing the success of arenas, especially like Columbus, I think that's definitely the most fulfilling, knowing that people are going in and using the products that we're building out, and hearing directly from Hayley right now, honestly, about how much fun
Can
people
you guys
have
hear me?
and how.
Yes!
Yay!
Welcome. Katie, did you want to finish your thought there? Are you good? You good? Okay. She's like,
Melody's here.
Well, Melanie, we're going to start from the top. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, what did I miss?
Well, thanks for joining. And you're coming to us with marketing background, right? You're doing marketing for Belong. So that's exciting. And we've been talking a lot about what Hayley's doing in the arena, what Katie's done to build all the software that's been vital to running the arena. So what are you doing? Tell us a little bit about your job with Belong and how you do the marketing for Belong, and maybe just even a quick recap of the background of Belong Arenas and what they are and everything for the group.
Yeah. So just to kind of give you guys a gist of my role at Belong. So I am the marketing lead. I've been with Belong since 2001. For my role, I kind of help in the build out of our overall marketing plan and strategy, but from like a digital and then a physical front. And Belong's business model is so unique. We have all these local communities. So we have our national channels at like the forefront, and then we have these whole little micro local communities that we talk to. And with my day-to-day activities, I also play a key role in making sure that we're putting effective marketing behind our programming and our arena launches. And just to give you guys a little bit of a rundown about Belong for those who are unfamiliar. So, Belong connects communities of gamers around the world through an international a network of experiential gaming centers where attendees can kind of come together, watch, play, and compete against each other across the most popular game titles and on top of the line gaming equipment. So, we kind of like to think about Belong like the local baseball diamonds and soccer pitches of gaming. And each of our locations offers daily competitive programming, fan engagement opportunities, and a practice space for both local professional and amateur esports teams, as well as meet and greet opportunities. So a lot of opportunities to kind of get in, really get a lot of experience in gaming, and it, Belong is kind of like a stepping stone for people who really want to either pursue an esports career, go from like amateur esports and reach that high professional level. We pride ourselves in kind of creating this welcoming and inclusive environment for customers. And it's really a place where gamers of all types of skill levels can kind of come down, get together, and really celebrate their love for gaming. And we have 24 locations in the UK and 5 locations in the US.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, Dallas, Houston, Nashville, and Columbus. And Chicago. And we have many plans to bring hundreds more to the States in the upcoming years.
So busy, right?
Yeah, busy, but it's super exciting. Yeah.
So definitely follow on, I'm sure, all the social media platforms that you're managing, and like we said, Discord and all that stuff, so we can see when one comes to your market if it's not in one of the ones that you already listed. That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Melanie, for you, and we talked about a little bit this with Hayley and Katie already, but why did you want to join, find a job in gaming? Like, what interested you in that, and how is it now that you're working in gaming?
Yeah, so I grew up with gaming my whole life. Initially, I was more of a solo player, kind of playing some RPG and story-based games, and my friends kind of introduced me to a new world of a new genre of games, so multiplayer games. And playing with my friends, I found myself kind of playing with other people across multiple servers, so nationally and internationally, playing with someone across the other side of the world. And me and my friends, we kind of really discovered so many communities within the gaming industry, and ultimately I found a lot of value of being able to connect and share my passion for gaming with other people. And yeah, I think that was basically my initial interest of really getting into the industry, and kind of looking at these communities. You kind of run across industry professionals and really have a look at the people that really I guess who really built the industry. And I found so much inspiration with those people. And I really wanted to be a part of kind of shaping the industry and lead it to where it's growing, which is amazing. It's a huge industry with lots of opportunities. And I was just inspired by those individuals. And I'm like, I love gaming, and I really want to help in kind of bring in that experience, well, what I went through to so many gamers nationally.
Well, it sounds like you're the right place to do that, to really build it up and everything. So that's great. That's super exciting. Shanta, I see you on the screen now. I don't know if you can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think that's coming through this.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Well, wanted to talk to you briefly here. You're in HR with Belong, right? So maybe could you talk a little bit about the types of roles that either you're hiring for or you have hired at Belong, just to give people an idea of the breadth of the types of roles that are available in gaming and esports?
That's a good question. When people think about the gaming industry, they typically think about in front of the scenes, the gamer.
Right.
But there are so many different opportunities behind the scenes, like you have Katie in engineering, you have Hayley on the ground in the arenas with the gamers, then you have marketing, finance, partnerships, HR, really have to figure out what it is that you want to do and what is your passion, and go after that and connect with people within the industry so that you'll be able to learn more about the company that you're interested in and the opportunity as well. And do like different types of like informationals as well, to also build that network and be able to be exposed to those different opportunities of interest.
That's great. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I really want to hear from you on this, especially being in HR and knowing that people are watching that are trying to get into the industry. So if they're looking for jobs, what are some advice that you could give someone that's watching that wants to get in the industry? Where should they look for jobs? How should they network? I mean, just any type of advice that you can give somebody watching right now, especially with your HR experience.
With any industry, you gotta, like I said before, you gotta ask yourself what it is that you want to do in this industry. What are your passions? What are you not passionate about? Say it. I can say it 1,000 times. You have to do your research. Look at research the different available opportunities. Build that network. Network with people in that field of interest, along with applying for the opportunities and developing your skill set. But scheduling those informationals with individuals in that field, doing internships. They will not only build your understanding of the industry, but it also grow your network. Once you're given that chance, never come in with a know-it-all approach. Always keep your mind open to learning new things.
That's great advice. I hope everyone was listening to that. That was awesome. And one thing I wanted to highlight that you said that I don't want to gloss over, which I think is so, so important. I know this was really important for me in my career, is also find what you don't like, right? Because if you know, you can try a lot of things and it's okay if you don't like something. Like if you've taken an internship or maybe an event-based job or a part-time job or something, obviously you want to fulfill your obligation, whatever that is. But if you didn't enjoy it and didn't like it, that's okay too. So that way, not to look for jobs in that field or that area moving forward. So I think finding what you don't like is sometimes just as valuable as finding what you do like too. So just wanted to highlight that. I was glad that you said that. That's really important. So for Melanie and Shanta, since you joined here recently, what are some skills that you found that are really important to have when joining the gaming industry?
On my end, it would definitely be the efficiency of collaborating. So I think this skill definitely goes beyond, being able to work with your teams cross-functionally in the company that you're in. On a day-to-day basis, I kind of find myself working with different partners and publishers and even our arena managers who are on site and kind of making all the magic happen. So Hayley, for example, she's our arena manager at the Columbus Arena, and on the marketing front, it's definitely important for both parties to make sure that we're aligned with our comms and messaging across our channels and different areas of execution. So this isn't just applicable to Belong, but I would say also other gaming companies as well, since you will find yourself kind of working with professionals and industry partners once you enter the gaming space, and which I feel that's fulfilling on its own.
That's great. Shanta, what about for you? Are there any specific skills that you think would be important?
In any industry, you need to understand the community, the organization, and the people you serve, as well as how your role of interest fits in that organization. When people think of gaming industry, you think of it from the perspective from the front of the scene. So you have to, like I said before, you have to look into you in front of the scenes, but not realizing that there's like a whole world of opportunities and development behind the scenes from different departments. So, like, the key is to do your research so that you don't limit yourself to the many opportunities that are available within the industry.
That's great advice. And I think really, I mean, I know we're talking about specific to gaming, but if you have a job in another industry and you're trying to get a job in gaming, both the advice that Melanie and Shanta just gave really applies to any job, but definitely, once you get into gaming, it definitely is great advice for sure. And Hayley and Katie already answered this one. So again, I'll ask Melanie and Shanta here. What do you love about working for Belong Gaming Arenas?
It's a lot of reasons, but I would definitely call out our commitment to really creating a diverse and inclusive community and really fostering a space where people can kind of come down, be themselves and, play games without, the feeling of getting judged. And this definitely aligns with my personal values. I know growing up as a woman, I've been in the gaming space or gaming either solo or with some friends for quite some time, and I've experienced firsthand kind of the toxicity that can come with it. I kind of hide behind a gamer tag, and I feel a little bit hesitant of communicating with my teammates in matches, and not only does that kind of hinder my experience like online and digitally, but I also feel a little bit hesitant to attend these really cool events happening. And I think that's definitely something that Belong is looking to change, and kind of really building this space where you can feel comfortable. Gamers of all backgrounds can come down, be themselves, and have fun. And I kind of find myself, taking a step back and looking at what we've built so far. We've worked with talented photographers and videographers for some of our events and our openings, and looking back at the footage and the images that we captured for those events, you really see a diverse group of people, which is amazing, and it's something that I wish I had while growing up. This amazing space where everyone can just kind of come together and connect. And I know everyone on this call, my teammates, have played a key role in just making this happen. And we have so many arenas on the pipeline, and we're really looking forward to, bringing this amazing experience to everyone.
That's awesome. Well, you're definitely playing a huge role in, changing stuff, things that, like you said, maybe weren't the case for when you were younger. And it's just, I think it's so cool too, just in the name itself, Belong, is really inherent in, what the community you all are building. So it's really, really exciting, and it's great to see. I agree. I've seen a lot of those pictures. Every time I see them, I just, you get goosebumps to see, such a diverse group at all the events. So that's awesome. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, and sorry. I was just going to mention it, and we kind of want you to see yourself in our marketing. So me personally, I look at these images, I look at these photos from our, these videos from our events, and I can definitely see myself, and that's something really big to say right now, something that I probably couldn't have said maybe 10 years ago.
Right. And it's genuine, right? Like that's
authentic.
Yeah, which is so cool to see.
Yeah.
Shanta, for you, what is something that you really love about working at Belong?
It's pretty much the same as Melanie. The people and the direction the organization is moving forward in, where diversity is represented throughout the organization, from C suites to the entry level positions. Belong isn't just building a community where everyone feels welcome in only the arenas, but they're also building a community throughout the organization where you feel welcome, valued, and feel like you're free to be yourself and actually have a voice where you're being heard. So that's one of the few things that I really love about Belong.
That's awesome. Hayley and Katie, would you agree with that too? I know we talked about it earlier, but now that we got everybody here, so do you agree with that as well?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
You're like, yes. That's great. Well, it's interesting because it's a very similar response that the two groups gave, as we're talking to everybody. So it's really cool to see that and just to see everyone so passionate about it, which is great. Again, I know some of these questions we asked earlier of Hayley and Katie, but I want to, hear from Melanie and Shanta on this as well. What do you find most fulfilling about what you're doing at Belong, and maybe like a career highlight? I know that you're continuing to grow and to build, but so far maybe a career highlight and what you find most fulfilling about working in gaming so far.
I definitely find it extremely fulfilling to kind of see, my involvement in shaping the industry in action. I would like to use maybe our first arena opening as an example. So our first arena that we opened in the U.S. was the Houston one, and we've come across a few challenges kind of opening the arena. One being how do we kind of communicate belong and reach out and talk to our audiences and really introduce our unique business model to our consumers. And that's something that was a challenge in itself. So really seeing that kind of come to life and the community that we're building is definitely something that I find fulfilling. And again, just like driving it back from personal experience, this is something that I definitely wish that I had at the time, and just really feeling like you're part of kind of shaping that industry and continuing to kind of make this gaming space inclusive space for everyone. It's something that definitely I have a lot of passion for, and it's just amazing to kind of see that in action.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Shanta, for you?
For me, it's getting the opportunity to build out new operations to support the people we served. And getting a chance to see how those contributions affect the overall development of the organization and the people through recruiting, making sure that we represent everyone at all levels, like I had mentioned earlier. And that is like a fulfillment for me, seeing a system that has been implemented like through ADP, like our HRIS system. I'm an person, so I'm going to chime in for HR. I get excited to be able to see that an employee has a smooth transactions throughout the system, being able to have those processes and procedures set in place. Like that is fulfilling for me, to be able to support the employees to make sure that they don't have to worry about stuff like the payroll or the benefits and stuff like that, but they can just do their job and not have to worry about the back end. That's fulfilling for me.
That's awesome. Well, shout out to the HR teams everywhere. I mean, trust me, those are the things that you don't think about when they're going smoothly, and that when the HR team is, just killing it and everything's great. But if you've ever worked someplace and it's not the case, it's a big difference. When think about the things that she mentioned: payroll, benefits, onboarding, all that stuff, and those are the types of things that when you have a great HR team, like you all have at Belong, and we have at Esports Engine, it makes everything so much smoother. So then you can worry about your job, right? And you can do the best job you can do. So that role is so important, and definitely doesn't get the shine sometimes that it should, for sure. Michele, welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fabulous.
We got everybody here now. so exciting. Well, Michele, I definitely want to talk to you before we break here.
Okay.
But I did have a question for you specifically about, what got you interested in gaming, and why did you decide to pursue a career in gaming?
Okay,
and
great.
About your role too, because we haven't even talked, about how important finance is to the group. So if you could talk about that too.
Sure, I'll do a quick intro. My name is Michele Ware, and I joined Belong Gaming earlier this year as the company's financial controller. Along with the CFO and finance team, I manage the day-to-day operations of the accounting department. Initially with gaming, my first video games were Atari's, Missile Command, Pac-Man, Space Invaders. I'm naturally competitive, and the introduction to these games was intriguing and exciting, as I spent hours until the early morning trying to beat the levels. Pursuing a career as a finance leader in esports, however, allowed me to combine my personal passion for gaming with my professional. In addition to being an accountant, I was a business owner of an escape room. So my 20 years in an accounting profession, coupled with my entrepreneurial skills and my love for video games, I said that's what brought me to the right place at the right time.
That's awesome. That is super interesting. That's great. How did you go about finding your job in gaming?
So I found my job at Belong Gaming on LinkedIn. I
Oh,
didn't
great.
know much about the esport business, so I did my research. And the more I learned about this multi-billion-dollar industry, the more I was intrigued. And then the more that I learned about Belong Gaming, its mission and values and culture, the more excited I got. I thought that perhaps my past experiences had prepared me for this role at Belong Gaming.
Well, it sounds like it has. And I feel like you just touched on several things that Shanta talked about earlier of
Okay.
doing your research and you mentioned
Right.
you found all this information out about the industry and then the employer that you were looking, to work for and everything. Right. And so you definitely touched on other
Right.
things that other people had said earlier. That's super interesting for sure. What do you find most fulfilling about working in the industry?
What's most fulfilling to me is the work environment at Belong Gaming. I don't find a lot of pretentiousness. There is a feeling of inclusivity. And as the industry continues to grow, there are limitless possibilities to find your niche and create opportunities for yourself.
That's awesome. And I just want to, shout out, I think it's important to show that there are companies that are involved in this industry that are leaders in the industry between Belong, our group at Esports Engine, the entire, Vindex company. I mean, I want to be very clear with people that want to get in the industry that there are many companies that you can work for that these values are important. Right? The inclusivity, the communication, the value of all the employees, right? It's really, really important. And it's interesting because we've done this panel in groups, which has been super fun. And so, every group has really said mostly the same thing, which is exciting to see that everyone feels that way. It's not just maybe an individual person. So I want people to know that are watching that there are companies out there in gaming that these are values of, right? And these are some examples of the ones we're talking about today. I'm sure there are others. And I would encourage you to go out and find those companies. And, those are the ones that you want to work for and continue to build that type of community within gaming because it's really changing. And you all here are such a big part of that. So I'm so proud of you all and proud to be a part of it. So keep up the great work on that for sure. For you, what would you feel like, Michele? I think we just talked about this with Melanie and Shanta a second ago, but for you, what would be a career highlight so far in the industry?
So a career highlight for me would be being able to, I feel like I found or bridged the gap between the things that excite me and the passions that I have in my professional life. I feel like there's an amazing work-life balance that the company offers, and those were very important to me.
Awesome. That's great. Shanta, I have one more question for you. I know that we talked about earlier roles that are available at Belong and in just in general in gaming. And we talked about there's the behind the scenes ones, there's the public facing ones and everything. But a lot of people might need to get their first foot in the door in esports because they might still be in college or even high school, right? I don't know exactly. You probably have to be over 18, but or maybe you can speak to that. But what type of maybe part-time jobs are available at Belong? I know we have the arenas that are all over the country. And I know for me, when I first got my foot in the door with sports and esports was really through part-time jobs because, I needed to work and go through school and all those, good things. But can you give maybe some examples of roles that are available for people that maybe aren't even full-time?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, we have a lot of part-time available opportunities within our arenas. As whether it's a specialist, which is like, a person that interacts within the arena level, sort of like a sales associate, they help you, assist you with throughout your gaming experience at Belong within our arenas. Those are our part-time opportunities. And we also have like leadership part-time roles within the arenas for like the team leads, where you're moving into that managerial level, but you're not quite there, but you're developing to get to that next level. So we do have part-time available opportunities at the arena level. We are also looking into, being that we're a new organization, we're still working on different things, setting programs in place within the arena level and within the corporate realm, as far as like fellowships and internships, so people could get that experience from the ground up, so that could learn different opportunities and also find out what's their niche. What is it that they like to do? Because I find when in my past, when I used to do like internship programs, a lot of times they don't know what they want to do. So having that ability to be able to work in different types of cross function areas, whether it's the arenas or an opportunity behind the scenes, and developing your skill set is really great. And also figuring out what it is that you want to do in this industry.
That's great. And that's really nice that there are those opportunities, right? Because you can experience a lot of different roles, maybe, move into a managerial role and then into other roles as well. So it's been great to see that you have that kind of pipeline already available. So that's awesome. Well, I just want to say that I have been just so motivated by this group today. Thank you all for joining this morning. You all have been just great to talk to and super passionate about what you do. And I'm proud and excited to know that Belong is being led by so many wonderful people and women. And this group alone is just so energizing and exciting. And, like Melanie was saying earlier, it's really empowering to look around and to know that we're all a part of this together and we can support each other. And I just know that I would encourage other women in the industry and women that are trying to join and anyone that's trying to join the industry to really be there and support each other, right? That's really important. And how we can, bring each other up and grow the community will help everyone. So this has been wonderful today. I've really enjoyed it. I want to thank you all for joining. I do want to just make sure we pause for a second and make sure we give William a second to get a nice screenshot so everyone can just smile nicely, especially that we all joined the call. Great. Looks awesome. Thanks for that. And I just want to, again, take a moment to thank everyone for working through us on this call and for staying on and for watching, and everyone on the call today. You all were amazing and, again, very inspirational. I want to thank the gamers for hosting this event today and all weekend. It's been really great. And they're such great advocates for our community and gaming and esports and everyone to be a part of it. So this was, like, to me, a great way to wrap up the weekend. So thank you all for being a part of that.